there's an area that we've worked for before in the Eagle Mountains. We fought that several times already and fought it back and kept it open. In fact, we filed new claims in there a few years ago. There's some good claims in there. First class miners have claims there. PLP has claims, members of PLP have claims in there as well. So Greg is going to give us an update. Can you give us a little background and, and what we can do to help stop the closure of that land?
Sure. Thank you, Ron. And I would ask you maybe start that. What I've handed Ron is a petition here to help stop this land grab that's happening. This is an effort to create what is going to be called the Chuckwalla National Monument. It's going to be south of Joshua Tree National Monument. Most of it is south of I-10, all the way from the Coachella Valley, Indio, Palm Springs area, all the way to the Colorado River. They just want to lock the whole thing up, the entire Bradshaw Trail and all that area out there, those deep painted canyons, Ladder Canyon, all that. What this also includes is the area that Ron was talking about. It's a small 20-plus square mile area of BLM land on the east side of Joshua Tree National Park. They want to, besides the monument, take that piece of land where our claims are at and put it in Joshua Tree National Park. Now, they first published this effort, they being Cal Wilds, which is a environmental conservationist type, I'm going to call it left side organization. They started it back in May of 2022. I first heard about it toward the end of last year, thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on with this? All this area they wanted to create. I had to write them and say, hey, send me maps. I'm interested in what you're doing. I didn't tell them I'm interested so I could fight it. So we got the maps. The maps are on the clipboard you saw at registration. And it's a huge 660,000 acres for this new monument and about 17 to 20,000 acres of expansion area, they're calling it, for expanding into our claims at the Joshua Tree National Park. So I have been fighting and starting efforts trying to get a hold of people who could we figure out how to fight this. Of course, Ron said, yeah, we're on board with this. I've gotten the Blue Ribbon Coalition on board as well. I've already talked to the local congressman's office, Congressman Ruiz from the Palm Springs district. I'll call it District 25.
And we do have an all-star team working very closely with Governor Newsom and Secretary Crowfoot, working very closely with all the chairs and chair people of the tribal nations, working very closely with all the different conservation organizations here, working very closely with all the elected officials that are here from different cities and counties and water districts, and you name it. It's all represented here, working closely with the youth, with Audubon, with the promotoras, with all the folks that are here. An all-star team that's going to get this done.
And, of course it didn't do any good. What Cal Wilds did, and another organization called the National Park Conservation Association, non-government, like I said, they're environmentalists, conservationists. They hatched this idea. That's part of what Governor Newsom wants to do with his 30-30 plan. How many of you heard of 30-30 plan? Okay, they want to lock up 30% of the government lands by 2030 in this state. And apparently Biden's gotten on board with that too. And he wants to do it nationwide. So we have to fight every one of these things that come up. I told his representative, I said the miners are livid. We adamantly oppose this monument, and we adamantly oppose the expansion as well. What I started, that some of you probably saw at registration, as I started an online petition And so far, and this has only been online for about 10 days now, and it's got over 400 signatures. And if you want to stop the land grabs, please sign the petition that's going around on the clipboard while we're here tonight. And I'm going to take that back with me. We're also getting Corva, the off-road groups. There's a big event going over in Goffs this weekend. We've got some folks over there with petitions, signing those as well. The way this works is I kind of snuck into the press conference that Congressman Ruiz had Monday before last down at Spotlight 29 Casino.
Now, the process, as you've heard, there's two possibilities. One is that you get an act of Congress to designate this through legislation. The other is the president to do an executive order under the Antiquities Act. Now, if you go ask the president's going to say, well, where's Ruiz on this? The president's going to say, well, where's the local congressman? What's his or her take? Right? That's the experience that we've had. Is that in order to launch the Antiquities Act, we need to very clearly state where I'm at. And this bill is a bold statement of where I am with the community, and I stand with the community to make sure that we get this national monument designated.
And he stood right up there and said, oh, mining can continue. That's per the Desert Renewable Energy Conservation Plan. He's not being brave because I know he's not smart enough to know what the laws are behind mining. Small-scale miners, which I would assume most of us are here, aka casual use miners. We don't need a plan of operations. We don't need any of that kind of stuff to do what we do. However, when a monument is formed or land goes into a existing national park, there's new rules. It's the National Park Service has rules. They don't distinguish between small miners and big commercial operations. They just say everybody must have a plan of operations. You must do, as part of the plan of operations, a geological survey to tell us, is there enough valuable minerals in that ground for us to allow you to keep digging your claim if we allow you to keep it? You have to do reclamation plans, which may mean a bond. You also have to do an environmental report. And if any of you ever been involved in those, they're very expensive. So is that geological. You're talking 6 figures for a small scale miner that uses hand tools and metal detectors. We can't afford it. So that basically means the congressman was misleading at best the public by saying mining can continue. Because no, it can't. We cannot afford it. And then small-scale miners could spend all this money, if you had that kind of money to spend, put this whole plan of operations together, then it goes to the Park Service. And they could say, yeah, no, we're not going to let you do it anyways. And you're done. It's not a guarantee just because you do this plan of operations and spend all that money. So we have to stop these land grabs. There's over 100 active small-scale mines in the the Chuckwalla National Monument proposed area. There's 6 in the small area that they want to expand. First Class Miners has 2. Me and my wife and Craig and Diana over here, we have a private claim. Ron Kluwer and his group has places out there. Would you come on board? Yeah. More than a half a dozen tribes said, sure. Yeah, we want to help lock it up. And they go to Congressman Ruiz and say, hey, we've got all the tribes and all this, which is a big part of his voting base. And of course, what is he going to do? Yeah, they gave no public comment periods, no transparency, did not tell any of the opposition.
And so with this bill, we are putting our stamp with the community, it's your bill, in order to let the president know. Then with U.S. Senators Padilla and Feinstein, there will be a letter with others to really put the request in to get this kick started with the administration. And then there will be calls from all of us. Then there will be visits from all of us. Then there's going to be the Chuckwalla hustle from all of us. Now, what's the Chuckwalla hustle? I'll tell you the story real quick because it's one of my favorites. Open the door and it's the kid holding up a bag of candies and other treats saying, "Hey, mister, you want to buy a candy?" That's the Chuckwalla hustle.
Tell any of the opposition. Now, when I was in Congressman Ruiz's office, his representative did tell me that the congressman told these organizations that were putting the bill together, make sure you contact all the stakeholders in all these areas. Did they? Hell no. Not at all. Not at all. None of the oppositions were told. If you're familiar with the BLM's Desert Advisory Council, which advises the BLM on management plans for the entire Southern California Desert District, it's congressionally mandated and approved. They didn't contact the DAC, as we call them. They also did not contact the mining district, the Eagle Mountain Mining District leadership. Mining districts are still valid. Those of you that have been around for a while, you know the push we've been having for that for several years now. They did not. I even told them who the mining district chairman of the board was. Did they contact him? No, not at all. They simply ignored anybody that was in opposition to this effort. So right now, what happened about 2 weeks ago, the congressman got the completed, fully written bill as HR 5660 and submitted it to Congress on the 21st. It's at the Natural Resources Committee of the House for review. I implore every one of you, sign this petition. At the registration, I think that clipboard is over here as well. There is a URL link, a web link, that you can take a picture of it and then put it in your computer. It'll take it right to the petition that I have out there online. Sign that sucker. We're going to get all these signatures into the congressman. Now, the way this works, and I know I'm being a little long-winded here, the way this works is the congressman said in the press conference, when the president's approach to do this with an Antiquities Act signature by the president, he's going to ask, what's the local congressman's point of view on this? He can hold up this bill and say, I'm on board with it, because he anticipates the bill will not get past the Republican Congress. Then his point is to go over to the president and say, well, we couldn't get it through Congress, so I just need you to do an Antiquities Act executive order and make a new monument, just like he's been doing. The other key is he cannot do that to expand the park. Expansion of existing parks and monuments, or Park Service units as they call them, requires congressional legislation. Although, I hate to say it, I think the monument's going to happen, but the president just making a signature, we have a fighting chance to stop the expansion of the park with all these signatures and everybody opposing this. What they can do is take that expansion and attach it to another bill, put it way down in the weeds down here, and attach it to a bill that has to have bipartisan vote.